Now we're going to take a look at the nut and see you can actually adjust these a little bit. And this nut on this one, we can see here, got the same situation where you want to check, hold down the first fret, check that second fret, check that first fret. We actually, in a rock guitar like this, you do want the nut really low. You want it virtually the same as when you're holding the first fret, pressing the second fret, you want that right off the nut. But this one is a little bit too low, especially on this string here. So we're going to have to shim this up a little bit. And for that, you can take a number of things. I like to just take what I've made here is just a little piece of business card, and it's cut to the width so that I can slip it under there. So what I do now is I'll go ahead and flip the guitar over. This one has the traditional lock nut with the set screws in the back that go all the way through the headstock, preferred by most true Floyd Rose players. We need to go ahead and loosen those up. Okay, depending on how tight they are in the wood there, we may be able to just adjust it, do our thing. This is where we're going to want to have our neck rest, because we're going to put a little pressure on up here. So let's get this out so that I can hold the guitar here. All right, now we're going to take our pliers and our little shim. We're going to see if we can grab on and lift that up. And if we can't, and this is where I need to get out my super goggles. It's a little more than I can see here. This is a small crack we're looking for. We may have to loosen up a little bit more. So I think what we're going to have to do, go ahead and take those screws completely out of the back so they're not getting in our way. Set those down there. Let's grab our shim. There we go. Just lifting that up a little bit, I get that shim under there. Slide the nut back over. I'm going to cut this off right here. I'm going to leave some excess out there. Then we're going to go ahead and lift it up on the other side as well, because we need it to bring the whole thing up just a little bit. This does take a little bit of oomph. Slide that nut into position. Just a quick check. Actually looks pretty good. We're going to clamp it down. The clamp will actually, when we set those set screws, it'll actually bring it down just a hair more. Let's go ahead and get those in. Okay, I think I can do this with my regular glasses. Got to line that back up again. Okay. Put our other screw in. Clamp this down nice and tight. Okay, let's go ahead and flip this back over. All right, let's take a look. See where we are. Okay, that's a little more like it. We were a little too low before. Okay. So now, let's go ahead and take your razor knife. Just cut off the excess here. That's all it is, just a tiniest little shim. Makes a big difference in the balance of the instrument. So now that we've got the nuts set, we've got the bridge where we want it, what you want to do is tune the guitar up to pitch. And we want to get really pretty close now. Okay, it sounds pretty good. All right. So what I like to do now is clamp it down. Go ahead. Actually, let's go ahead and stretch out these strings by hand a little bit first. Let's go ahead and do that. Go over each one of them. Really just run your hands on, pull on them a little bit. Retune it again. And after we do this, we'll clamp it down. It's not important that you're perfectly in tune right now, but you do want to really clamp it down and give it a little oomph. This end, you can give a little more oomph than that end down there. But once again, you don't want to strip these things out. So we clamp it down. Let's really pull on those strings again. Easy on the high strings, they break pretty easily. Now you really want to work it over a little bit. Realistically, play it for about 10-15 minutes if you have the time. Then come back, let's unclamp the whole thing again. This is where one of the biggest mistakes is made. They think, you know, you've tuned the guitar, you've got it all set, and you clamp here and you do all your tuning from here now. It's too soon to do that. This is just the first time through. This is when you need to unclamp it. Let's leave those fine tuners alone. And let's just go ahead and retune it again a whole bunch of times. And this time let's even make sure that the neck is not in the neck rest anymore, because it does make a little difference. And pull it out. For this one, actually, you're going to actually use the tuner on this, because this you want it to be precise. So put that tuner on and actually go over each string and get them really to lock in. Okay, now that you've got it perfectly in tune, you've already clamped it once, you've played it, you've stretched it, now let's clamp it for good. And from here on out, the tuning is strictly done from the fine tuners. And now you've also, if you put all the strings on this way, if you break a string, they almost always break right here. You'll, within a matter of minutes, be able to loosen your clamp, pull the string all the way to the ball end, stick it in there, clamp it, boom. Within 2 minutes, you're playing again. Oh, there's one other thing I think I'd like to show you while we're at it, is the setting the intonation on these. It's really a bear for a lot of people, and I came up with a technique some time ago. You don't need any special tools, just your regular needle nose pliers here. You can take a string, and let's just say the B is a little sharp and we need to come back. I take it, catch it right in here. I'm going to pry up against the back of the fine tuner there and get your wrench down in place. Take this here, loosen that. Now you can let the string go that way. In this case, it's a little sharp, so I want to pull it back a little bit, just a touch. Oops, we've locked up our nut. We can just loosen that up. But this is just really an easy way to adjust that intonation on Floyd Rose. It helps a lot. So just remember that. Very simply do that. And when you start to run out of room on a saddle like I am on the B there, you might want to switch to the next hole. But overall, this is pretty much it. That should do the job. If you can follow those little tricks, your Floyd Rose will work a lot better for you.